Should you consider working as a contractor? When a lot of people consider government jobs, usually the thought of maybe I should be a defense contractor, that kind of creeps into your mind. So I sat down with a friend of mine and asked him, how is it like to be a contractor? And the company that we're focused on today is CACI, which is a defense contracting company located in Northern Virginia. Now they have about 20,000 employees, and he's been working there for about 1 or 2 years. And he has deployed to the country of Afghanistan and Iraq as an intelligence analyst. Now, a lot of people, they think when you deploy as a contractor, you're going to be making a lot of money. Sometimes that's true, and other times it's not true. First, I asked him, how did you get your job? He took a 1 to 2 page resume. He Googled the template. He downloaded the template off of the internet, and you had to keep in mind, this guy had 6 years of military experience. He was an intel analyst in the military, enlisted. So he went onto the website clearancejobs.com. This website has a lot of job postings for people that possess clearances, usually people that are coming out of the military. So one thing to understand about this type of website, if you want to know what the United States is up to or where we might be sending troops in the future, a lot of times you just have to look at the job listings. Because before the Ukraine thing became a really big deal, they had job listings for contractors in Germany and Poland. So you can kind of follow the job listings and have an idea of where the United States might get into future engagements. So the CACI recruiters actually reached out to him, and he said they were pretty aggressive, and they usually are pretty aggressive. One thing to understand about CACI is it has pretty much cornered the market on intel contracts. So if you have an intelligence background and you want a contract, the chances are you're going to have to go through them. He had one over-the-phone interview, and after that he had the job offer. He said it almost felt too easy. Now once he got into country, especially in Afghanistan, once he arrived there, it was him, about 10 or 15 other new employees, and they basically were asking people, what is your experience? It seemed like they didn't really know on the ground. So they said, hey, do you have experience with Pakistan? Do you have experience with Afghanistan? So they were trying to feel them out a little bit, and from there, they would be shipped off to different locations within that country. So what can help someone get hired at CACI? Well, if you have an intel background, if you're prior military, that can help a lot, especially if you're willing to relocate, if you're willing to go to Germany, if you're willing to go to Iraq. Then all you really need to do is find a CACI recruiter on LinkedIn, send them a message. Now, if you do get hired, you need to make sure that you have everything in writing. And this isn't just with CACI, this is pretty much any private company. You want to make sure that the terms that you're agreeing on, especially if there's promises, right? If they say, oh yeah, we can get you the bonus, the annual bonus, we can make that happen. Or we can provide a stipend for this, that, and the other. You need to have that in writing before you accept the job offer, before you're actually formally an employee. Okay, so then I asked him, what are the pros and cons of working in CACI? For the pros, he mentioned that there are a lot of opportunities that you can grow into. So you might not necessarily have the required experience to get into that role or that position, but they're willing to work with you and allow you to do on-the-job training and slowly grow into the role. Another thing is they have the alumni program. So they keep notes on their employees, right? A lot of the supervisors, management, they keep notes to see what kind of employee you were. If you're good, if you have strong work performance, they want to keep you. They want to keep you after the contract ends. They want to find another contract for you. So that's another thing that's a pro. Also, they're more open to hiring younger people that might not have a lot of experience. And what we're talking about here is largely the military community. So let's say someone does a term, right? 3-4 years. They do a term and they get out of the military. They might have something for you. Or if you do 2 terms and you come out of the military, they could have a position for you, right? But this also leads them to kind of almost, I don't want to say taking advantage of, but they jump on these new candidates, these new job applicants, and they're able to offer them perhaps a little bit less. Because we know in the military, usually in the military, you're going to make less money. Most people know that the average salary for the military is not comparable with the private sector for the most part. Now, when we're talking about salary, he was seeing on average about $140,000, $145,000 a year, depending on the country, depending on the position, which might seem like a lot of money, especially for somebody that's in the military right now. That might seem like a lot. But other contractors for similar positions were paying a little bit more. Now, for the cons, he told me a story about a buddy of his. He was offered a bonus. Now, you might be thinking, how is that a con? That's a good thing, right? It was a $20,000 bonus. All his friend had to do was complete 12 months with the company while deployed to Afghanistan. Now, this individual, he had a federal government job lined up once the contract expired. He was like, hey, I got a GS position waiting for me when I get back to stateside. Now, everyone was happy. They congratulated him. The supervisor thought it was a great thing. They patted him on the back. There was no issues. However, after he completed 11 months and 28 days, about 24 or 48 hours to hit that bonus threshold, he was fired. He was terminated, and within 48 hours, he was on a plane back to the United States with no bonus. Now, I was shocked. And I asked him, I said, that must have been a one-off. That must have been just, that individual. Maybe there was some stuff we don't know about. But my friend said, hey, this didn't just happen to him. This was somewhat of a common occurrence with certain individuals. Another con could be that when this company is bidding on government contracts, they will have allocated for their contractor, it will say something like $500,000, $600,000 for this contractor. And that's supposed to cover salary, compensation, training, and all of it. But then your salary is only $150 or $140. So where's the other $350? Is it in bonuses? No, not really. So there's a profit margin in there where we don't really know where that money is. Also, he felt that the good old boy system was still in full effect when it came to this company, because a lot of the management, a lot of the leadership, when he was in Afghanistan, they all knew each other from other contracts. So the top 3 or 4 people, they were working in different companies and had already formed relationships. So there was that system of preference, and it didn't feel right to him. Many times when he was given a task or something to complete, there was not a lot of context given. It was just simply go out and do it. Run this report. Produce this. Why? There is no why. Just make it happen. So I asked him what he did on a typical day, and it was just basic intel stuff, right? Running analysis, conducting analysis. Now, I've actually spent 12 months in an intel type environment when I was in the military. It's not very complex type activities, but it is time consuming. So why did he pick a contracting job as opposed to a federal government job? The main reason was the uncertainty. He was looking through the job announcements, and a lot of times he felt that the job announcement was written in a way that it was only for one person, and that one person wasn't him. And this can happen at times. This is one of the reasons you have to have kind of a broad scope when you're targeting, right? Look for different job series and then start applying to those. Read the entire job announcement before you do apply. Some job announcements are written that way where they only want people with a very certain type of experience. Okay, so then I asked him, would you ever consider in the future getting a federal government job? And he said he would definitely consider it. He might start applying, but he wouldn't tell the company. Because if he told the company, he feels like that could come back and potentially do him harm. So he kind of feels like he needs to hide it from the company. So I asked him what would cause someone to get fired from CACI. And he says once you're in country, they're probably not going to fire you. Even if you're not performing well, they will relocate you before they fire you. So let's say you're in one corner of the country and you're not performing well. They might relocate you and put you under another supervisor and give you another task. But it costs a lot of money to actually get you into the country. And if they are thinking about firing you, they're probably going to advertise for your position before they even fire you. And again, this is because when someone gets in country, it takes about 2.5 months to get them up to speed. So they don't want to lose out on the resources they've already invested in you. I asked him if he was planning on applying to another job soon. And he's like, yeah, I'm definitely planning on doing that. It's not just him. Other people he's working with, they're planning the same thing. And once again, like I mentioned, the problem with people with the intel background, there's not many companies to choose from. CACI has a lot of those Intel contracts. And then I asked him on a scale from 1 to 10, where 1 is being extremely dissatisfied and 10 is loving your job, what would you rate this current job, this current position? And he told me he would rate it 3 out of 10. All right, disclaimer. This is one person's experience with the company. This does not represent the company as a whole, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't apply for these type of jobs. This is one perspective, and take it for what it's worth. Now, if you're open to both contracting jobs and federal government jobs, but you're leaning more towards the federal government side, maybe it's because of the benefits. Maybe you want to see things from the perspective of somebody who's working a federal government job. If you want to know how that's like, I want you to watch this video next. If you would like to see more videos like this, please click like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.